The world is rotten, and those who rot deserve to die. That's how it all starts. One high school student, a notebook from the gods, and a vision for a perfect world. But here's the real question. Was Light Yagami actually wrong? Did he go too far, or did he have to do something that no one else would? We're gonna break down Light's ideology and see if what he thought initially was actually reasonable. In the beginning of Death Note, we see that Light is quite a good student. He's a good student, he's got the looks, the girls like him, he comes from a good family, he's smart, but he was bored. He was a genius with a strong sense of justice and a belief that the world is corrupted. When he finds the Death Note, it isn't long before it becomes his divine tool. A way to get rid of that world of evil. He kills murderers, terrorists, and anybody bad that society does agree upon that is a threat. Light truly believes he's making the world a better place. And at first maybe he is. I mean, his goal is to create a world with no crime, no chaos. Who wouldn't want that? But he also wanted to become the god who oversees it. See, the irony is that Light's ideology began the same with most systems of justice. Punish evil, protect the good. But unlike any legal system, Light has no limits. No trial, no jury. Just one hand and a pen. But when does that justice turn into tyranny? Throughout the show, Light's transformation is subtle but very deadly. When L starts closing in, Light doesn't care about that justice anymore. He doesn't hesitate to kill innocent FBI agents. Even later, he uses Misa and manipulates everyone around him like they're his pawns. The line between good and evil blurs completely. Now it becomes anyone who gets in my way is evil. That's no longer justice, that's control. The Death Note didn't just kill criminals. It also rewrote Light's morality. I am justice. I protect the innocent. I'm the one who will be the god of this new world.
I am justice! I protect the innocent and those who fear evil. I'm the one who will become the god of a new world that everyone desires. All those who would oppose that god, they are the ones who are truly evil.
Now in his mind, opposition is evil. If you stand against him, then you dissent. That equates to death. That's the same logic used by dictators throughout history. But the thing is, Light's ideology worked. We see in the beginning, Kira's system was working. Global crime rates dropped dramatically, and even hardened criminals changed behavior. Now fear becomes the law. If you kill, you die, no exceptions.
In the summer of 2012, Kira's killings increased at an unprecedented rate. Numerous people around the world were terrified of Kira, and yet there were just as many cheering him on. Gradually, their private thoughts became public opinion, and soon, certain nations began to accept Kira's judgment. The world was heading into a dark age in which Kira's will was the only law.
In a cold but logical sense, Light's system did create peace. But here's its flaws. There is no due process. There's no room for change or redemption. No way to prove innocence. And the worst of all, only one man decides who gets to live and who doesn't. Think about how many real-life justice systems sometimes get it wrong. False accusations, corruption, prejudice. But now imagine one teenager who has no oversight of that, just with the supernatural power. Imagine you got falsely accused. You're dead. Even if you didn't commit the crime, you're dead. See, Light's ideology didn't fail because punishing evil is wrong. But it failed because that same power corrupted him. He lost sight of that goal. He stopped thinking about justice, and it started becoming about ego. It's like that one quote where if you let ego take over, you lose it all. We see by the final arc, Light isn't that person we saw initially, who was always 5 steps ahead of everyone, who always knew to protect his identity and only kill the bad people. He became sloppy. He became desperate. He became arrogant. He started to believe he's untouchable, and that's when he slips. That's when the people closest to him, the one who he has underestimated throughout the show, bring him down. And the best part is Ryuk, the god of death who started it all. He ends it with a pen stroke, just like Light does. He even said,
"Well, Light, it looks like you've lost. Remember how, in the beginning, when we first met, I told you that I'd be the one writing your name in my notebook. Well, Light, it's been interesting.
It's so poetic that a man who wanted to become a god dies just like every man he killed. See, Death Note isn't about good or evil. It's about what happens when one person is given that ultimate power without consequence. It's a warning. Light Yagami did start with good intentions, but unchecked power, even in the name of justice, always leads to corruption. That's what Death Note kind of forces us to question. Like, who should have the actual power to judge? And is it ever right to kill, even if they're in the wrong? Light Yagami thought he could become a god. He thought he could cleanse the world of evil and create something better. But in the end, he became the very thing he was set out to destroy. So was his ideology valid? Maybe in theory, but in execution, it was just another tragedy written in a black notebook. I honestly believe that Light's ideology is correct. If we put fear and death in those who do something wrong, we will no longer have a world of evil. We'll have a much safer world. But that can only happen if the person who is in justice is not corrupt, who doesn't become corrupt. Because once he becomes corrupt, it's just the same like Light. But what would you think? Was Light right? Do you think there was some place in the show where he could have stopped and become a hero? And there was actually an alternate ending where Light actually won against his battle with Nier, and after that he became the god, and he killed around 100,000 people per se. I'm not really sure, but eventually it got so bad that he told Ryuk, please just kill me, I'm tired. And so Ryuk says okay fine, and Light then wakes up in a random place, and it takes us in the beginning where it said the man who possesses the Death Note, once they die, they do not enter a place of heaven nor hell. They meet somewhere in the middle. That middle is where all of the god of deaths belong. And eventually Light feels horrible pain, as if he was in an accident. And that's when Ryuk tells him that he has to face every person's death that he killed. So for example, the first person he killed was in an accident. So Light has to feel that accident. Then he has to feel what the second person died. Then he has to feel how the third person died, and so on until, he feels all of it. And the fanfic goes on and it gets pretty crazy, but if you do want to check it out, you can definitely check it out. I think it's like on Google. There's even a continuation of what happens after Light dies that's actual official. And if you guys really like this video, I don't mind buying the books and then giving a video on it. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Subscribe if you enjoyed. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video.